Hey everybody, CamiBaker.com here, and we are fabulous, fierce, and on fire. And it's Friday, and we are with friends, and we are featuring the fabulous Lisa Christine. Now, Lisa Christine and I met because I was speaking at an event a couple of months ago, and a wonderful woman was at my event, and she told Lisa, she said, hey, you need to have Cami Baker come speak. And so Lisa looked me up, and then we ended up hooking up, and I ended up going to some of her events, and I thought she was fabulous and she loved me. So here we are now on Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire, and we're doing some collaborating, and I'm going to be speaking at her event actually on Monday, this coming 30th, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But I don't want to take all the time. I want to introduce you to Lisa because she is a powerhouse. She has been running a group called 28 Carats for the last 7 years. It is a networking group down on the North Shore of Boston area. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about her road trip to success. Lisa, welcome to Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire. Let's hear about your group. Let's hear about you. Let's hear about what you got going on, girl.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cami Baker, for having me on Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire. I can't really do it the same as you, but yeah, thank you for welcoming me. I'll put some practice to that. Yeah, I am just so excited to be here. 28 Carats is an amazing group headquartered here out of Newburyport on the North Shore of Boston, and we are so excited. Our membership launched about 1.5 years ago, and we are continuing to grow. We have a dynamic group of like-minded women who gather together to celebrate, to collaborate, and to contribute. And we get together a variety of different ways. We have monthly events. We also have the SBA Innovate Her Business Plan competition. We have Power Play peer mentoring circles, which are kind of like part mastermind and part strategy. And we also have membership, and you can also do one-on-one coaching if you're interested in that as well. We're really all together because we're like-minded women, and we wholeheartedly believe in collaboration over competition.
Wonderful. And I'm sure that the viewers are wondering what I wondered when I first heard of the name of the group. Why not 24 carats? Why is it 28 carats? What is that all about?
Sure. 28 Carats is because the number 28 has always been really special in my life and continues to show up over and over again. The number 28 also means powerful. So we know that the women we're bringing together are not only dynamic and like-minded, but they are powerful. They are the boss babes. They're the women that are making it happen and getting it done. And Carats is from a book that I read when I was a child by Ruth Cross, and it's called The Carrot Seed. And it's about a little boy that plants a seed, and everybody around him says that's never going to come up, but he continues to nurture the seed. He waters the seed. He makes sure it gets enough sun. And one day this huge carrot comes out of the ground, just like he knew it would. And that's just amazing. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of women, right? When they're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur or they have an idea, they kind of plant that seed. And sometimes they may have naysayers around them who say, that's never going to work. That's a stupid idea. But when you surround yourself with the support and a group like 28 Carats, you've got to have that community there around you. Then guess what? That carrot does come up and your business just explodes. And that's what we're doing here at 28 Carats. We are collaborating over competing.
You know, I love your analogy of the seed. And to bring another little story into that, my mentor taught me this story that people, I like to say, let's stop looking for leads and let's start planting our seeds. Yes. And this analogy came from her because of a story she told. So some seeds that we plant turn into sweet peas, and the sweet pea plant will come to fruition in 2 or 3 months, and it'll feed us very quickly. Some seeds turn into pumpkins, which might take 7 or 8 months, and it takes longer for it to grow, but then it sustains us for a longer season. And some seeds are like apple tree seeds. And when you plant that seed, it takes a long time for it to grow. But when it starts to bear fruit, it feeds us for a lifetime and for generations. And when I use that analogy, when we bring that into networking, which is what your group is about, and I like to say we don't network because networking is random and it wastes time. We want to net web. But when we're planting the seeds, sometimes when we're out planting seeds, that sweet pea is the immediate client. It's somebody that needs what we have right now. And then there's other people we might work with in a few months. And there's other people, it may be years before we know exactly what that resource or that relationship was meant to be. And I can give a story about each one, but I love the seed analogy so that we stop looking at people as leads and start planting our seeds. So clearly you planted a seed about 7 years ago when you started 28 Carats. Tell us a little bit about your journey leading up to that point, because your resume is rather impressive.
Oh, thank you so much. Sure, I'd be happy to share that information. That's a great question, Cami. So I've had a wonderful career where everything that I've been doing is really based around community and being of service. I have worked for major corporations from AT&T to IBM, including American Airlines, won various awards along the way, and I've done everything from sales to strategic marketing and strategic partnerships. And so I then started my own company at one point, doing some consulting, working with other companies, kind of taking them to the next level and helping them to develop that 90-day sales pipeline that they need when we're talking about leads and lead generation. And then I was able to get an appointment at MIT, where I was in a group at MIT and was able to work with their startups and connecting them to some $2 billion major corporations. And we took that startup group to a new level. All while I was doing 28 Carats. It was called Downtown Women Connections at that point. I rebranded about 2 years ago. We're very excited because we are in a rebranding process again now. We're coming up with a new logo and a new website and getting ready to launch our co-working collaborative as well. So I think what you see, whether it's my career or some of the things that you're talking about, it's really about that connection. So women are coming to the events and they're in the power play circles. They work with me one-on-one on coaching, and it's all about that connection and that human interaction. And then I can help them build the communities that they're looking to build so that their business will be successful as well.
Well, and you're helping to build communities everywhere now. So right now, 28 Carats is based on Newburyport, but you're taking a regional and national and looking for possibly a franchise type opportunity to
yeah, I would say we're looking to. Sure, I'm so sorry, Cami.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're looking at, I'm not sure it would be a franchise model, but more like startup cohorts around the country. And I actually just came back from an amazing conference, and at that conference met all kinds of other go-getting dynamic women, and there are several people who now want to launch a chapter of 28 Carats. So we're going to see if we can make that happen for them and start growing regionally and nationally. And we do have one member who's international right now over in Italy. So I guess you could say we are a global organization as of right now.
So for anybody that's local, there are some fabulous events that Lisa does. One I went to about a month ago, which was at an art gallery. So she finds some of the most beautiful places there in the Newburyport, which is a stunning area to start off with. So if you're local, you can come out and play with us, and we'll talk about our event on Monday, this coming Monday, where I'll be talking about stop networking and start connecting and actually building business relationships. So if you're local, you can come to some events. And if you're not local and you want to start to connect and start a networking group and start to create that community of your own, why reinvent the wheel? You got somebody here who's been with, MIT and all these other companies that she's helped to do, sales and marketing and lead generation, et cetera, and has already been very successful in this area. So why not have a mentor that can do that? And speaking of mentorship and coaching, I know that you took a step out of that for quite some time just to get the group up and running. But for a very few select people, you're actually willing to take on a few clients now that are one-on-one. Talk to me a little bit about who is your perfect client to work with.
Sure, and you are right, Cami. I will only take on a few select women who'd like to work one-on-one with me, and I will help them to build their business so that delivers results for them. I am looking for women from 35 to 65 who may be wanting to be a member of 28 Carats, as well as be at a point where they need to get some revenue in the door. They need cash coming in the door. Or they need to take their business to a new level, and I can help them do that.
Nice. Nice. Well, I know that anybody that gets a chance to work with Lisa definitely benefits from her experience and her ability to connect others and to create that community. Because when I've gone to her events, I've gone to thousands of events all over the country, all over the world, and I don't join just any event. If I joined every event that people ask me to, I would just be a professional group joiner. but when I went to Lisa's event and her group, I definitely joined because I could see just the camaraderie and the collaboration that was going on. Hence why I'm going to be speaking there, and we're actually giving a book, one of my, not just a PDF, which I will give away to people who sign up for my list, but if you want an actual hard copy of Mingle to Millions, the first 75 people that sign up to attend our event will get a hard copy, and I'll sign it for you. Lisa, tell them a little bit about the event and what they can expect, because it's a Monday and we're having margaritas while we mingle there.
Absolutely. And we know Cinco de Mayo is next week, so we are kicking Cinco de Mayo off Monday, April 30th. We're going to be at Metsy's Cantina, which is here at the railroad station at the commuter rail in Newburyport. It is an upscale Mexican restaurant, and their wonderful chef, Tony Leon, is going to be providing some yummy, savory appetizers for us, and they're going to have a special margarita that you can order as a member and attendee. All of the attendees who will be attending will be getting a copy of your book, and they'll get a chance to sign. When you come to a 28 Carats event, you feel like you're home. You feel like I found my people. And the women are very supportive, very friendly, very welcoming, and we also love to play. So we're very playful and nurturing. So we love to say to people, come on into our circle. And we typically do some sort of icebreaker sort of game that gets everyone kind of up and running and gets your blood flowing and juices going. And then we can update you on some of the new things that are coming down the pike. And we always have a very successful woman entrepreneur who is our speaker, and we're so excited for Cami Baker next Monday. And then we also let every person who's there introduce themselves, introduce their business, do that 30-second pitch about your business. At this event, we're expecting close to 100 women, so we will probably pull 20 to 25 business cards out. We always have a raffle, and it's just the connections. You're right, Cami. It's the connections, it's the camaraderie, it's the community that people are coming out for. And I hear that same thing. Most people just say 28 Carats events are very different than any other networking events. And you know what? That makes me smile.
Well, and Lisa's events are always different than the typical boring event. And then the Cami Baker experience on top of that are always very different and engaging. And I like to call them experiences because, just doing a workshop or a training or just speaking to people is very different than connecting with people. And so we'll be talking about, stop networking and start building business, having quality connections that convert. And the conversion can be to resources, relationships, and or revenue. They can be to friendships, just like what Lisa and I are creating. And actually, Lisa, let's take a big step back. We're powerful women. We are out moving and shaking and getting things done. But I don't know about you, but it wasn't always that way for me. I've had my own rocky past. People that follow me know about my alcoholism and stepping out of that and being a single mother and moving to a part of the country where I didn't know anyone and truly just totally starting over. And so, I went on quite the spiritual and the learning journey myself. Lots of books, lots of seminars, Walking on Fire with Tony Robbins, just you name it. I've read it. I've been there. I've done it. Talk to us a little bit about what you would suggest or what you've done for yourself to really maintain that positive mindset, the books you've read, the seminars you would recommend, mentors you've had. Just share with us any yummy stuff that you think is pertinent.
Absolutely. I've had an interesting journey where I've had, been an entrepreneur several different times, as well as worked in the corporate world. And I like to say that in the corporate world, I was also an intrapreneur. So when I got my master's degree at Simmons College here in Boston, I wrote a thesis which was titled Entrepreneurship, and it studied the role of successful entrepreneurship and leadership, and I studied the role of the intrapreneur versus the role of the entrepreneur. And I was writing this thesis at the time and studying executives within IBM, as well as some of the CEOs and executives outside of IBM, of which there were probably 12 different CEOs outside of IBM that I was interviewing and kind of finding out their secrets, which I'm always happy to share, both with 28 Carats members and when I coach people one-on-one. And Mark Cuban was one of the people I had interviewed, Paul Graham, several other names that you would recognize. And I was able to write that thesis and kind of take those best practices and now move forward in my life. And that's helped me in being a positive mindset. I think one of the things that I truly wholeheartedly believe is to never, ever, ever give up. And you're right. There's been times when things haven't been perfect and smooth flowing. I've been laid off. I've been fired. Imagine that. I've been fired. And I have started over again and over again. But you know what? The one thing I always have is a community, and whether that's family, friends, church. So, I'm always surrounding myself and people who are like-minded and like me. So I think that's really important. What do they say? The 5 people that you have closest around you does have to do with the direction your life is going to go in. So that would probably be my biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid, never ever give up, and find that community where you feel at home and keep those people close at hand to you. Make them your board of advisors. Keep them around you.
Well, you mentioned the 5 people that you have around you, and for those of us who know that comment, you take the 5 people's income that are around you divided by 5, and that's usually where you are. And this is from a spiritual perspective, any type of perspective as well. Who you hang out with is who you become. And so, the fact that you went down to that event in New York City this past week, and, I always share with people, don't just go to free local events, because you go to free local events, yeah, you can meet some nice people there. And sure, I've been to hundreds of free local events, and I'm sure Lisa's attended many of her own. One of the things that's actually great about your events, Lisa, is that they're not free. Now, they're not hundreds or thousands of dollars. It might be 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks to go. But here's the deal, everybody listening, and what I like about that, people who pay attention. People who invest are invested. When the room is full of people that are there for free beer and peanuts, there's homeless people in the room. And if we're wanting to do business, we want to do business with people who have qualified themselves as being a serious business person. And when somebody ponies up 40 bucks to walk through the door, guess what? When I pay 40 bucks, everybody else in that room paid 40 bucks too. And the fact is, we are all invested in being there. So talk to us a little bit about that business model. I find that fascinating because there's so many free events going on, here, there, and everywhere. Any night of the week, you can go to a free event, but your events bring people who are really invested in their business. Talk about that.
Exactly. And it's exactly what you just said. People who pay attention. And when I hear those words, pay attention, that means pay attention in the conversation that you're in. You are live in that conversation in the present moment. And that means you are actually having a meaningful conversation. I'm not just there walking up to you and saying, hey, what do you do? And here's my card, I'll grab your card, and I'm going to come home and take those cards and deal them out like a deck of cards and count up, oh, I hope I got 50 cards tonight. It's not about that. It's maybe making 2 to 3, maybe 4 or 5 quality connections. You know, our events have anywhere from 40, 50 people up to 120 people, depending on the size of the venue and you know what the capacity can be at that venue. So it's really connecting with that other woman that you're talking to, celebrating who she is, and she's celebrating who you are. So you're not just going out like, oh, I'm going to a networking event. No, no, no. You're coming out to celebrate the woman that you are and the woman you want to become. And you are there to also collaborate. That means have an initial conversation. That doesn't mean let's make a deal tonight. That means let's see if we have something in common. And then, hey, let's grab a coffee or maybe, you know, some sort of meal at another time. And let's have a more in-depth conversation and find out kind of where our cross paths and where we can help each other. And that's the one thing about 28 Carats. Everybody really wants to contribute. They want to give and they want to help each other. So if I had events that were free and the membership was free and everything that we did was free, that would be giving away the value of what we're offering. And the value of what we're offering, since there's women in the group like myself, like yourself, Cami, we all bring so much to the table. We bring years of experience, whether it's in our personal life or professional life, excuse me, because we're all looking for growth. So there's value there. And with value, you need to, you know, pay for that and pay the people who pay attention.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about focusing on 3 to 5 people as opposed to getting a deck of cards to take home with you, because next Monday when we are having our event together, that'll be one of the things that I talk about is not spraying and praying your card, spraying your card everywhere and praying that somebody's going to call you, or grabbing a whole bunch of cards and going home with as many as possible, or sharking through the room. And like you said, it's not about trying to collaborate or you know, wrestle and kill the business to the ground right in the moment. Look, I've been all of those. I've sprayed my cards. I've grabbed, you know, 50 cards. I didn't think I did a good job unless I left with at least 30 cards. And I've been sharkish and aggressive in the room. I've done all 3 in the same night. And even as embarrassing as that is, it's all been a learning experience for me. And that's why I look at it now as being quality connections that convert. And, you know, when you've got that many women in the room, I was actually just meeting with a new client today, and we were talking about, you know, how to really bridge the gap when you're a woman, you're a powerful woman, and you're wanting to do business with other powerful women so that there's not some weirdness or cattiness. One of my tips for that is offer up a compliment. So you walk into a room of 30, 40, or 100, 120 really powerful, wonderful businesswomen like what your group has, consider giving out a compliment. You know, when I've got a whole story about walking up to a table full of women at an event in New York City that was at the Ferrari dealership, and walking up, and these 3 of the most gorgeous women you've ever seen. And I had no idea what I was going to say, but when I walked up to the table, the only thing I could think of was, damn, this table has the nicest shoes I have ever seen. And just saying that, they started to laugh. They started talking about their shoes, and it broke the ice instantly. It totally, in that moment, removed all the weirdness. Like, who is this woman coming over? What do you want? You know, it was just a nice compliment that broke the ice. We chit-chatted and moved on from there. But other than giving a compliment, you are a connector, a master connector as well. So, what is a tip or 2 you might give people when they're out networking from your perspective?
Oh, absolutely. I think there are 2 things that are really important. One, when you walk up to somebody who you may not know, instead of saying, what do you do? Why don't you ask them what they're passionate about? And watch their eyes light up, watch them start talking, and see what they're passionate about. That may lead you to something you have in common with them, which will allow you to connect, and then, you know, start some sort of friendship or enjoy then the camaraderie from there. The second thing is be inclusive. So, you know, look at how you're standing in the group. Even if nobody else is paying attention to that, look at how you're standing. Are you standing in a position that would welcome somebody else to walk up to the group? Walk up to people that you may notice have never been there before and say, hey, I'd like to introduce you to someone, and walk over with them and introduce them to someone that they may not know. And that's typically what I do, because I know, pretty quickly who's there for the first time and who's not. And I'm very happy to connect one person with another and just get that conversation going.
I love those tips that you just gave, because those are some of the same tips that I would give. We have so much synergy and so much in common, which is what is so exciting about working together, especially with this event that we're coming up to do. Yes. And actually, when I was at your last event, you had a version of a networking bingo card that I have seen before. And I actually took that version of the networking bingo card that I saw you have, and I created my own version of it. And I think as we're talking, I'll make sure that I bring them with me. We can play with these. So the version that you had was really quick questions. So you can go around and get 12, 15 people and just ask them a quick question really quick and just kind of mark it off just for fun, so that you can hurry up within like 2 minutes and go over and win the prize if you get your card filled out first. My version of it, because I'm wanting to have more quality, intimate connections, isn't about going and talking to 15 people in 2 minutes, which has its place and was a lot of fun. This one is more about asking those questions, like the question you just asked, what are you passionate about? Or some of the ones for me is, tell me something about you that has nothing to do with your work or where you're from, or, what are you working on right now? Or, what's your favorite book, or what's another networking event you know of in the area, and why would you recommend it? Or who's the most successful person in the room, and will you introduce me to them? So all these different kinds of questions. So on my bingo card, I've got 25 of those kinds of questions. And so I could actually bring those to our event, and that way we can have them do a diagonal or, a row. And when they do, they can put their business. Hey, maybe this will be for those who want to, like you said, the 20 or 25 that get their name drawn to speak. Maybe they have to do the bingo card and then put their card in the bowl to be chosen to speak.
Oh, that's a great idea. Another way of qualifying. Yes, that would be a great idea. And
just like when you did your bingo card, for its purpose was to get the energy going, was to get everybody just jazzed and in a hurry, and hey, let's talk and play for a minute, and then hey, you win the prize. So for this one, it'll be more like, hey, let's take time during the event to get your row filled, and then you can put your name in the pot to be able to speak at the end. So make it a little bit different. Well, Lisa, we're coming to the end of our 30 minutes together, girl. And, I really appreciate, all the inspiration, all the great tips that you've given, your energy, having just come back from your trip and still making time to spend it with us. What are our last couple of things? You've already given us some great tips on how to stay inspired. Are there any last comments, thoughts that you'd like to share?
Sure. I would love anybody who is listening to this to go ahead and go to 28carats.com. Check out our video on the About page. You can also find us on Facebook, where we have some other videos that kind of show you what happens at the events. I'd love to see you at the event on Monday night. It's at 5:30 at Metsy's Cantina here in Newburyport. And, we are willing to work with any women who are either already an entrepreneur or want to become an entrepreneur. So we hope you will join us sometime soon. And it's been a pleasure being on here with you, Cami.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you as well. And I'm going to make sure that the link to 28carats.com is on this video. You'll see through my feed personally a few of the different advertisements about the upcoming event. And you'll want to go to 28 Carats now, because the last couple of days before an event, or when it really starts to fill up, that's when people finally decide to put it on their calendar. And the first 75 will get that book. So you don't want to wait until you're number 76 and further on, because then you're not going to get a free book. And you want me to be able to autograph it for you, because one day it's going to be worth a lot of money.
That's true. We know that.
Guys, this is CamiBaker.com and Lisa Christine, and we want to thank you for being fabulous, fierce, and on fire. on this Friday with Friends
Bye-bye.
featuring Lisa. Lisa, it's been my honor. Thanks for having me. And I'll see you on Monday night, along with all the other people who are smart enough to come play with us. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yay. Bye-bye. Thanks, Cammie.